Our next guest is Julie K. Brown, an award-winning investigative journalist with the Miami Herald, whose groundbreaking three-part series in 2018 exposed deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his alleged co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, who's pled not guilty to charges against her. Julie Brown's new book, Perversion of Justice, The Jeffrey Epstein Story, is now available and chronicles her tireless fight to bring Epstein's story to light and the powerful forces that she says she was up against. Thank you so much for joining us, Julie. Take us back to 2018 when you first published your series Perversion of Justice in the Miami Herald. Epstein's story wasn't that well known at the time. Why was this case so important to you?
Well, as I looked at the case, I realized that, first of all, I couldn't understand how a man who had committed such a horrendous crime had seemingly got away with it, number one. But number two, as I looked deeper into it, I realized that the victims in this case had never been heard from before. I wondered what they thought about this all these years later. And just around the time that I was looking at it, President Trump nominated the former U.S. attorney from Miami, Alex Acosta, to be labor secretary. And Acosta I knew was the prosecutor who had supervised this deal, who had helped make it happen.
Describe what you were up against when you first reported this story.
Well, there was an awful lot of material that had been gathered over the past decade. He had gone to prison. Now he was back out again and sort of went back to his jet-setting life. And in the interim, two of the victims had filed a lawsuit, not against him, but had filed it against the federal government, seeking to overturn this plea deal.
What do you think would have happened if you hadn't reported this story?
You know, I think that really what made this story so powerful was the voices of the victims who were courageous enough to talk to us and let us film them. I think that giving them a voice was extremely important to understanding exactly how the criminal justice failed them.
And you also discussed the financial pressures that you were under and the shrinking of local news outlets. What does that mean for stories like Epstein's that might fly under the national radar?
There's probably so many stories from, every corner of the country that aren't being told because local and regional newspapers are slowly either shrinking or disappearing altogether. Even, the Miami Herald, which has been a robust regional paper for, decades, is struggling. And, I hope, if nothing else, this book will make people realize how important it is to subscribe to your local newspaper and to support local news.
Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, one of Epstein's alleged co-conspirators, she still awaits trial and she has pleaded not guilty to her charges. What do you think will happen in her case?
Well, she's already taking a page out of the Jeffrey Epstein defense playbook. She's hired the best defense that her money can buy. Her lawyers are just, burying the prosecutors in all kinds of motions. Her family has hired a PR machine to try to get her so-called side of the story out. So it'll be interesting to see whether it's going to be as successful as obviously it was in Epstein's case.
Julie K. Brown, we thank you so much for your time. Perversion of Justice, The Jeffrey Epstein Story, is now available wherever books are sold. And we do want to point out that Secretary Alex Acosta, who prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein in 2008, has claimed that the state attorney was prepared to let Epstein walk, but that his office, quote, ensured that Epstein went to jail, registered as a sex offender for life, and made restitution to his victims.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.